right, well, we will get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Zoom today. We're going to be talking with the two student leaders, Litzy Bautista and Ethan Lewis, who are organizing the events for Orientation 2021. But before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to keep their microphones on mute. The session is being recorded for future viewers, and we would like to limit any extra noise that we can. Any questions that you have, please feel free to submit via the chat, and we will definitely answer them at the end of the session. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Tobey. I am the Director of Student Activities, and I think I recognize some of your names from sessions that we've held about various ways to get involved at HWS. So welcome back, and welcome to everyone new who's joining us. I will help oversee orientation with the orientation coordinators who work all through the summer to get planning ready for your arrival in August. I'm excited to say that we are planning for a fully in-person orientation experience, but of course we will be following guidance from New York State and the CDC to ensure our community's safety. Litzy, can we start with you introducing yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Litzy, and congratulations on being accepted to Hobart and William Smith colleges. I'm currently a sophomore at Hobart and William Smith from Los Angeles, California, and I am double majoring in political science and Latin American studies and possibly minoring in sociology. So that is one of the many beauties here at HWS. You are able to explore your interests and also just, kind of study whatever you want and still end up with a major. And you can also create your own independent major, which we can talk about another time. But just to give you a little background on myself, in Geneva, I am a tutor at the Boys and Girls Club and am also a junior board member, and was recently inducted into the Laurel Society that recognizes William Smith students who are involved and also succeed well academically. I'm also an RA. I work at the post office. I'm William Smith Congress president, and I'm also one of your orientation coordinators. And there's a lot more I do on campus. But I'm gonna hand it off to Ethan so that he can introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ethan Lewis. I'd also like to congratulate you on your acceptance to Hobart and William Smith colleges. I am also a sophomore at Hobart and William Smith. I am from Sharon, Massachusetts. I graduated from Sharon High School in 2019. I'm a Blackwell Scholar at HWS, as well as being a biochemistry major. Excuse me. On campus, I work in the Office of Admissions as an O'Laughlin ambassador or tour guide, as you might know them better. I also work in the post office and IT services. I'll be an RA this fall in the Reese Residence Hall. I'm also vice president of the campus activities board, so I help plan and run a lot of the on-campus activities that happen during the semester. I am an avid volleyball player. I joined the club team when I was a freshman or first year student, and that was a really, really great way to kind of relax and spend my time. And then I also help out with the Day of Service Club, and it's really been an honor to be selected as one of the two orientation coordinators who will help plan the first few days of your college experience here.
Great. Well, thank you for those introductions. So our time spent together today is really to get to know Litzy and Ethan a little bit better, as they will be your guides throughout the summer leading up to orientation and answering all of your questions in order to make your orientation weekend as successful as it can be. So we're going to do some questions for Ethan and Litzy, and then we'll leave time at the end for everyone to get their questions answered. So feel free to throw those in the chat, and we will definitely get to those. So let's start with you, Litzy. What do you remember about your orientation program?
Okay, so I really enjoyed orientation. I think some of the key things that I remember are we had a hot air balloon. I've never been in a hot air balloon. I never thought I could go to one, but when they were like hot air balloon today, and yeah, really fun, really nice photos. There was a really nice sunset that day too. I think that's one of my favorite memories. But then also the other things that I enjoyed were the food trucks. So Ethan, who's in cab, actually brings a lot of food trucks on campus, and that was really my first taste into the food I'd really be enjoying for the rest of my college experience. And yeah, I really enjoyed the pizza truck. I'm not sure what it's called, but every time they bring the pizza truck, I always go because their pizza is so good. And then also they had bouncy houses. They had like obstacle courses, which were all really fun. We got to compete, and it was really kind of a time to just get to make friends, get to know other freshmen or transfer students. And a lot of the friends that I did make during orientation are still my friends now. We still talk. And yeah, I think orientation is really just a good time to get to know other people, get to know what you really want to do, but then also exploring the town. So one of the things we did during orientation was we got to explore the Geneva town, and there our OMs walked us through like what good places there are to eat. And I have yet to try all the restaurants in the town, but I feel like I'm very close. But yeah, it was really just a good introduction to who is on campus, who my class is, and then also other students in upper level classes or upper grades that I could talk to.
Great. Well, thank you for that. So Ethan, can you tell us what students can expect from the weekend of events?
Absolutely. We definitely, our biggest priority is welcoming you all to a warm and enthusiastic way to HWS. We want to ensure that each and every one of you knows that you belong here, that you're going to be accepted into our campus community. So we're going to spend the entire summer, let's see, Kristen and I, planning activities, engaging events, and relationship building activities that are going to help students transition into this new college environment. We want you to know all the different resources that exist on campus that are going to help you, both during your time at HWS and beyond. And orientation is just going to showcase a lot of the exciting opportunities that you're going to have at the colleges, including student performances, academic advising, making meaningful connections with your peers and other faculty, and then just meeting kind of faculty, staff, and upperclassmen students who are going to help you get acclimated to your new home here in Geneva, New York.
That's great. Thank you for that. So Litzy, do you want to talk a little bit about the team of students who will help to plan and implement your goals for orientation weekend?
Yeah, so orientation consists of a large group of people on campus. So we have 2 orientation coordinators, which is Ethan and I. But then we also work along with the orientation leaders, which right now is 11 students, I believe. And their role is really to just help us facilitate the rest of orientation. So we have people in charge of the orientation mentors. Then we have people in charge of orientation central. And those were 12 students we interviewed, got to know. We selected a well-rounded group of students who we believe you guys will be able to relate to and ask questions to if you do need any questions answered. But then we also work with orientation mentors who have more one-on-one connection with the incoming classes. So you either have 1 or 2 orientation mentors, and they really guide you through all the activities throughout orientation weekend. And they'll be like your mom and dad guiding you the entire week, basically. And they'll tell you what to do, where you have to be, and when you have to be there. And then they can also just help you around campus if you do have any questions. But orientation mentors, it's in their name, they're a mentor, and usually freshmen stay in touch with their mentors. I know I'm still in touch with my mentors. They help me select my classes whenever I have questions about professors and stuff. They're the 2 people I go to first. So yeah, that's basically what our team consists of.
Great, thank you. Ethan, can you please talk to us a little bit about how students would get connected once they are joining us at HWS?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the best way to stay connected with the colleges and all different offices are the different social media platforms. Pretty much every office on campus and a lot of clubs have an Instagram that you can go look up and follow, where they're very active about what they do, the events that are happening. Twitter and Facebook are also great ways. I know Litzy and I are both in the Class of 2025 Facebook group, so that's a great way to connect with us too. We have an Instagram for orientation as well that we definitely should be looking back on. We're going to be using a lot this summer. And then, there's most offices have Twitter as well, and also email. All the offices on campus have an email. Orientation has an email. It's orientation at hws.edu. So if you have any questions for us, you can definitely send them to that email as well.
Great. So we'll be looking forward to hearing from all of you throughout your experience in the summer and leading into orientation weekend. So now we're going to turn it over to Litzy and Ethan to answer some of the questions that have come in through the chat. So the first question that we have here is, why did you choose Hobart and William Smith colleges? Litzy, you want to go first?
Yes, I can go first. So I chose HWS. I didn't mention this in my introduction, but one of the things I want to do after I graduate is go to law school. And I really felt like HWS was a place where I could do that successfully. Just because I know grad schools in general usually require that you have a professor that knows you well. I didn't think I could get like a good letter of recommendation or even just good faculty to student relationship at a bigger school. So that's why like one of the main reasons why I chose HWS, but also just because it's a very different environment. I am from Los Angeles, which is a huge city, and Geneva has a small town. And I really wanted to experience that and kind of put myself outside of my comfort zone. But I really love it here. The students here are really nice. I think the faculty to student ratio is actually very beneficial. I feel like I know everyone at the school at this point. And I can go to anyone if I need help with anything. And that's really something that I appreciate about HWS. But Ethan, your turn.
Yeah, very similar to Litzy. I come from like a smaller town in Massachusetts, and I really enjoy kind of the small town atmosphere. Or really being able to know the people on campus, being able to kind of see the same people every day, no matter where you go, was something that was really, really assuring to me. I also, I am someone who is majoring in a STEM field, but I didn't want to be limited to just kind of science classes. And so I felt that the liberal arts education at HWS was something that was really going to help me explore my other passions outside of STEM. So, like I really enjoy taking French classes and Italian classes and learning different languages. And that's something I've been able to do here at HWS, while also pursuing my major in the STEM fields. And then really just, the community atmosphere that exists on campus between you and your classmates and your peers. You'll get to know your classmates really well. Even if you don't know them at the beginning of the class, you'll make friends in your classes. It is really easy to just kind of go up to new people and start talking to them and, kind of form relationships that way. So it's really a great community atmosphere here.
Great, thank you both. So we had another question come into the chat. Best guess on if the POAP, which is Pre-Orientation Adventure Program, if those trips will be running this year. So they are planning to definitely run the POAP trips this year. Did either of you participate in that? No. Okay. Well, POAP trips is an opportunity to come to campus early prior to orientation weekend, and you can select which POAP trip you want to be part of. So there are some that are closer to HWS, right within our community, and others that you'll travel to. And it's basically like an outdoor adventure. So typically camping, hiking, doing different activities with a small group of people that you'll have the opportunity to get to know really well through that experience for several days right before the orientation program kicks off. So historically, this program is a great opportunity, even for students who maybe have never experienced the outdoors like that. It's a really cool opportunity just to get to know people. So then when you come into the orientation program, you're already going to have a network and a group of students that you know really well, kind of moving into that first experience on campus. So definitely look into POAP. There'll be more information that will be shared with you over the summer about it, including deadlines, for applications and that kind of thing. So definitely look for information on POAP. Another question that we have here, do we get to meet our advisors during orientation? So academic advisors.
I can take that one. Yes, you do get to meet your advisors during orientation. Your advisor When you get here, will actually be your first year seminar professor. So once you, I know the portal will be opening up next week, and you'll be able to look at different first year seminar classes, and those are just very much your introduction to college classes. And so your professor who teaches that class will also be your advisor until you declare a major, and you will meet with them during orientation when you go to select the remainder of your classes. So you'll get to meet them. They usually do like a brief get to know you activity, get to know them, your classmates and everything. And it's a really good way to meet them before you have them in class.
Great, thank you. We have another question here. Will there be time to relax during orientation?
Yes, there is time to relax during orientation. So obviously we want you guys to all have a bunch of fun, but we do take into account that orientation is a lot and can be overwhelming. So we try our best to fit in some free time in there so you can get settled into your room and also just relax and be with friends outside of all the activities we have planned for you.
Okay. Another question, what percentage of incoming kids do POAP? My best guess would be we probably have about 100 students that do POAP typically. Each trip can only hold so many students, so that's why there is an application process for that. So definitely if you're interested, look into it once you get some information on it, because you'll want to adhere to the deadlines for the application. Next question, when is move-in day? When does orientation start? Either of you want to take that one?
Sure thing. So orientation starts August 19th. So I believe this year we're doing everyone moves in on the 19th. I know last year we had a little bit of a staggered move in. But I think we're back to normal this year with you all move in on the 19th, and we get started that afternoon kind of right away with orientation, all the activities. You're gonna get to meet your orientation group, your orientation mentors, and you're gonna dive right in.
Great. Another question, how do preseason athletics fit in with the orientation schedule? So a lot of preseason athletics, they'll be returning to campus early in the month of August. So they'll be able to do their training schedule prior to the actual orientation. But all of our coaches are well aware of when orientation is. So they basically will turn over their teams to orientation. And the expectation is that the athletes are joining us for the full experience. So we work really closely with athletics in order to coordinate those schedules, but it definitely doesn't conflict with that commitment. All right, more questions. We have one, my daughter is playing a sport. Do you feel POAP is geared more towards kids who don't have a sport as a way of meeting people? Well, if your daughter is playing a sport that is a fall sport and has preseason in August, that would definitely be a conflict in the schedule. So you might just want to be mindful of if she does have a preseason schedule, because POAP happens a couple days before orientation. So like Ethan says, we start orientation on Thursday, August 19th. So the POAP trip would be the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday prior. So those students get to return that weekend before, unpack, actually move into their assigned rooms for the fall semester. So, parents, family are able to help them move in, get settled, and then they go and join the POAP group for their schedule. All right, another question. Will we learn more about Geneva during the orientation weekend?
Okay, so I think I briefly mentioned this when I talked about my favorite things about orientation. But one of them was the fact that we try to make orientation very much involved with the town. So one of the things that happens during orientation is day of service, where basically you get sent with your OM group out somewhere to volunteer. So it can be a local organization. We recently just had day of service, and I volunteered at the Geneva Women's Club, I think, something like that. But we got to volunteer. I learned about the history of Geneva and how the Women's Club has really played a role with like women's rights and stuff. It was a really good day, a really fun day. You get to go with friends. But aside from that, we also have a tour of local businesses, and you also get to meet key leaders within the town. I remember during my orientation, we got free ice cream or free gelato from the gelato place in town. And then we also have a talent show at the Smith Opera House where you get to see students perform their talents and also maybe possibly see the whole orientation team dance. But that is yet to be decided.
Okay, just a reminder, feel free to throw those questions in the chat. So we have another one. What is the first year seminar class? Can you two talk to us about what your first year seminar class was?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a little bit earlier, first year seminar class is really a way to get you kind of acclimated to what a college style class is going to look like, and also writing at the college level. And so professors who teach first year seminar classes, they understand, you're new to this environment, and so they're really there to not only teach you, but also to kind of mentor you through your first semester, your first year here at HWS, what to expect, kind of different strategies, study strategies, how to use your time to the best of your ability, and just different ways that you can stay proactive about your work. But the classes itself, they range in what the topics are. They're not your normal like gen ed classes. My first year seminar that I took was called Paris Je t'aime. It was all about French and American culture and kind of diving deeper into cultural analysis. But we really got to do a French cooking class as a part of that. And that was a really interesting way to kind of bring the culture to life within the class. So the professors really try and find ways to bring the class to life, whether it be on different field trips or in the classroom. They try their best to make it engaging and also a really good way to introduce you to college.
Okay. So yeah, everything that Ethan said, I guess I can just talk a little bit more about my own FSEM, which by the way, I don't know if you all saw the link that HWS admissions dropped, but I was on a panel about specifically just FSEMs. So my FSEM was metacognition and social justice, and FSEMs just tend to be classes that professors in different departments want to teach for fun. They're usually fun classes. It's not like Chem 100. Like I know there's like it was like art and chemistry or something. It was a really cool class. But basically they're all more guided because it's an FSEM. The professors know they're working with freshmen. They really try to tailor it to you guys. So FSEM professors tend to try to enhance writing skills and try to just prepare you for the workload you're going to have in college. Yeah, and that's basically it. So, and your FSEM professor is your not your counselor, but they're with you until
Academic advisor.
What happened?
Academic advisor.
Your academic advisor until you declare your major. So yeah, they're a mentor to you until you decide what you actually want to study here.
All right, thank you for those responses. So we had a question, how many guests are allowed to accompany each student on move-in day? So this past year, during the pandemic, only one family member was able to go into the residence hall with the student to move in. In a typical year though, any number of guests can come with students to their orientation. You'll see family dogs joining them on the quad. So we really don't limit it in a normal year. So throughout the summer, we're going to stay in touch with everyone, and we'll be posting on the orientation website about any kind of guidance or requirements that we're going to have for orientation, just related to keeping everyone safe in our community. Another question is, how do you know which first year seminars are living learning communities or just learning communities? And what is the difference? And how do you sign up for the one that you prefer?
I can talk about that. My first year seminar was a living learning community. And what that means is that everyone who is in that seminar lives on the same floor. So my entire floor was basically just other first year students who are in my first year seminar class. It's a really great way to kind of make friends. You know, you have at least one class in common. You have things to talk about. It's a good kind of bonding experience, but it's not for everyone. You know, being in the first year living learning community usually does mean you have to live in a co-ed building. If that's something you don't want to do, then you by no means have to do that. When you go into the portal that is opening on May 3rd, you'll be able to select your top, I believe, 8 choices for first year seminars. And when you click on it, it'll provide you a description of what this class aims to be about. And at the bottom, it should say, if it is a living learning community, it'll say living learning community. And that is how you'll know. And so if you don't want it to be in one of those, you can kind of avoid those classes. If you really don't mind, then pick whatever ones you want to. If it's something you really do want to do, you can go and find out those classes. Obviously, you don't need to be in a living learning community to make new friends. But I still talk to a lot of people. I still have a lot of classes of people from my floor that I lived on last year. So it's a really, really great way to meet new people.
Where were you housed your first year? Let's see.
So I lived in Hershon, which is all female housing dorm. So I actually wasn't in a living learning community. And I chose all female housing just because I felt like I'd be more comfortable there. So that's why I didn't choose a living learning community. But I think one of the things that I definitely missed out on because I wasn't in one was I had friends who were in living learning communities and they were really tight with their FSEM and they got to study together because they shared one common space. But I also really enjoyed just getting to know other people outside from the class that I was in because we lived with different people. But yeah, so I lived in Hershon.
Great, thank you. So what is the role of the deans on campus?
Okay, so I work at the dean's office, so I can try to answer that. I'm not sure what their like official description is, but I always joke around with Dean Kensig that the deans are like the parents of the school. They're really kind of just mentors. You can literally go to them with any problem you have. If you feel like maybe a professor graded you unfairly, you can talk to them. If you don't know where to go for a certain thing, you can go to the dean's office. But yeah, they're really kind of there just to serve as people to help connect you to other resources if you need it. Yeah, I'm not sure, Kristen, if you have anything else to add, because I always just call them the parents of the school.
I'd say they're also super helpful for students in kind of building a relationship just to get to know them. So the first year deans, who will be Dean Salter for the William Smith students and Dean Mapstone for the Hobart students, they are the folks who are going through all of the information that students are putting in the orientation portal regarding preferences for academics, and they are hand selecting their classes. So they are starting to build their academic schedule for the fall semester. And then during the orientation program, students will have the opportunity to be in a room with their faculty member to select their last class. So that's a very unique opportunity where your first year deans who are going to get to know you so well throughout your first year and beyond will help to hand select those classes and then kind of help you with the experience and practice with how to select classes. So students will actually have that opportunity during orientation so that then when they move on to select their schedule for the spring semester, they've already been through that process and seen, you know, the PeopleSoft portal and all of that they'll be navigating on their own for the spring semester. All right, so continue to drop those questions in the chat as we move through them here. What is a favorite pastime or event on campus for both Litzy and Ethan?
I guess I'll go first. Like I said, I was really active on the volleyball team, and that was really my kind of stress release outlet for my first year on campus was practicing volleyball with the club volleyball team and just kind of going and playing with my friends. Another thing I really like to do is just kind of walk around Geneva with my friends. We like to just kind of go on walks, explore the downtown area, explore different parts of Geneva, and we really like to go, especially just like go stargazing and different things, different areas. So that's what we do a lot of. Like I mentioned, I am on the campus activities board, so I'm at pretty much all the events put on by the campus activities board. So that's the way I pass my time on the weekends, is just doing a lot of campus wide events, trivia nights, bingo nights. This past weekend, we had our Spring Fest, which is a really big success. We brought in food trucks and outdoor laser tag and mini golf, and just lots of different ways for students to kind of de-stress before the final week of classes.
I was going to say similar things. Number one is just going to the gym. So you have all free access to the gym, which is a really good place to go to de-stress and stuff. And I think when it's sunny outside and not snowing and stuff, it's really nice to have a picnic on the quad. That's like kind of a college experience here at HWS. It's really fun, especially when it's sunny. You see people playing frisbee, and I don't know what that game is called where they have like a trampoline kind of in the middle. I don't know. Ethan, do you know?
Spike ball.
What is it called?
Spike ball.
Spike ball. I've never played it, but it seems to be something people enjoy. But yeah, it's super fun. People play music. They bring their speakers. So that's one of the things I enjoy doing. And then also just walking by the lake and like just seeing, I don't know, it's so pretty, especially during sunset. It's just really nice to kind of sit down by the lake and really enjoy the nature we have around us.
It is a beautiful campus, that's for sure. So another question that came in is, how will I make friends during orientation?
So you will be with your orientation mentor group pretty much all weekend. So that's a great way to get to meet new people, is within your OM group. But also, if you're, for me, obviously my orientation mentor group was kind of the same as my floor because we were in a living learning community. But if you're not, your floor is another great way to meet new people. Just getting to know the people who you live with. Going to the different activities, there'll be a lot of kind of nighttime programs put on by orientation where you're not required to go to any one thing. You have the freedom to kind of choose where you want to go. And so just go to different spaces that pique your interest, different activities that pique your interest, and meet like-minded people is a really good way to get to know new people on campus when you get here for orientation. So I'd say kind of do things that you want to do and then find people who also enjoy those things on campus, and it usually comes really easily.
All right, so I have put my name and contact information in the chat. So I'm also going to ask Litzy and Ethan to put theirs in the chat as well. And then if we don't have any other questions, we will start to wrap up here. So I have one last question for both Litzy and Ethan. So could you offer your advice to students who will be joining us on campus for the first time?
Okay, yes. So yeah, I just put my email in the chat for anyone who wants to reach out. My advice for first year students is really to get involved. I know everyone says like, I try to get involved right away when I got on campus. Go outside your comfort zone a little bit. One of the reasons I chose HWS is I knew no one from my high school has come here in a very, very long time. And I kind of wanted to force myself to go outside my comfort zone, to really force myself to meet new people and have to meet new people in an organic way. And so it really pushed your limits a little bit, but also definitely, set the right boundaries for yourself in terms of working, in terms of your relationships, and just you need to strike a good balance, and it takes time to develop that. You will not get it maybe even your first semester, maybe not even your first year, but you will find a way to kind of do everything that you want to do. I mean, you can see Litzy and I are both very involved on campus, and we've found ways to be able to balance all of our academics, activities, and relationships in a way that allows us to continue to do all the things we really enjoy doing.
Thanks, Ethan.
Can you repeat the question?
I sure can. So what is your advice for new students joining us at orientation?
Okay, my advice would be take the time you need. I think sometimes, at least for me, when I got here, I was like, I need to make friends, I need to do this, I need to get involved, and I was like, I need to do all these things. And I kind of rushed myself. And then slowly through first semester, I realized that I could take all the time I wanted to determine my major, to figure out what clubs I wanted to be a part of. So I really took the time to just explore anything and everything. I didn't come into the school thinking I was going to major in Latin American studies, but I took a class on Chicana feminism and I was like, oh, wow, I really enjoy this. And I took another class, and then I was like, this is my major now. So really, like, you don't know what you're going to be interested in until you really just explore everywhere. So take the time you need with anything and everything. Yeah, that's my advice.
Great. Thank you so much. So that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you all for joining us. I'm glad that we were able to give you the inside scoop on Litzy and Ethan, who will be your guides through the orientation process. If anyone has any further questions or wants to get in touch with us during your decision-making process, please reach out to us. Again, our information's in the chat, or admissions can certainly connect us with you. So thank you so much, and best of luck as you make your final decision. We hope your decision is HWS.